see Rowdy. Oh, you guys don't give me a second, do you? No, how are you doing, Nick? No, how's your week been? Get out, Rowdy. Excuse me, I'm catching a drink. I'm sure most of you guys know, but I go on TikTok before I go on YouTube like every week. So I have been talking non-stop for like 40 minutes already. Good evening. G'day, Gary. How are you? G'day, Basil. Some of our regulars. Carly. Sarah, how are you? Justin, just finishing TikTok. Spot on. Tamara's here. Good-o. All right, guys. So, as it says in the title, we have some new snakes. I will give it a little bit. I'll let some people hop on because we've got some people from TikTok who are planning on heading over here. But we'll get out some other snakes first. We'll get out some lizards and have a chat and do all this sort of stuff. We'll get out Rowdy, who has not been on a live stream for several weeks. It'll be the first time I've handled Rowdy and had to engage with another person since my son was born 6 weeks ago. Obviously, I have to take him out and change his water bowls like every day because he craps everywhere. But to try and talk to you guys and answer questions and handle a snake that wants to kill me is something I've been putting off for the last few weeks because I have not been sleeping much. So we will see how it goes. Long time no chat tomorrow. I love how we've got all our regulars. Is there such thing as marsupial called a kawaii? There certainly is, and there is a pattymellon. The pattymellon is like a type of wallaby. It's a macropod, whereas the kawaii is a dasyurid, which is the same family as quolls and Tasmanian devils. They're tiny, angry Tasmanian devils. If you're a grasshopper or a locust in the Central Australian desert, the kawaii is your Godzilla. They're very cool. Not as clear on YouTube. I'm sorry. I've got dodgy reception at the best of times. But yeah, I don't know. I try not to bump my phone too much, but there's not much more I can do. I have 15 snakes right here at home. Super blurry. Oh. Tell me if it clears up because I don't want to get out Rowdy if you're not going to be able to see it. It's been fine here. All good though. All right, I'm going to move this back far enough that I've got some room to work with our brown snakes if we get them out. Can see me pretty well. I'm sorry about that. I'll brush my teeth. Do I look all right? Go back to TikTok. Look, mate, JB, I'd love to, but I've got some amazing people who meet me here every week. So TikTok's fun, but YouTube, we sort of owe it to people to, now I'm focused. All right, don't move. The problem on TikTok, well, the benefit on TikTok, it shows me if I'm doing all right or not, but here it doesn't. Do my snakes get agitated while being held? Some do, some don't. Would you like to see Rowdy? If it's clear, I'll get out Rowdy. We have some regulars here and some there. So finding a balance, spot on. At the end of the day, TikTok, I love TikTok. It's been a lot of fun. But YouTube is where we've been posting videos for years, and our YouTube audience, our TikTok fans mean a lot to us, but our YouTube audience have literally, the reason we've got these animals the last 18 months and we haven't had to move them on due to unemployment is because of the support we get of people on YouTube. So absolutely, please, mate. Yes, please. All right, we will get out Rowdy. Drum roll. Touch wood. So for those of you who don't know, Rowdy is our eastern brown snake. We keep a couple of eastern brown snakes. Val, how are you? I'll get to your questions in a minute. We're going to handle Rowdy for a little bit. And then we'll take out some pythons, and then we will get out 2 of our new snakes, because I'd love you guys to come up with some name suggestions. I don't know. But we will get out Rowdy, the cranky man himself. He's in a tub, because I'm working in a different room to what he normally lives in. So, hey Rowdy. Whoa! Alright. Hang on. You're not going to be able to see him all the way over there. So we'll do some rearranging. Let me know what you can see and what you can't. So this here is Rowdy. Rowdy is the biggest of our 2 eastern brown snakes. And isn't he just a Labrador? You're not a very nice snake today, Rowdy. So Rowdy here is the eastern brown snake, which is the 2nd most venomous snake in the world. The leading cause of snake bite death in Australia. And in my opinion, as somebody who's worked with the most venomous snake in the world for many, many years, the most dangerous snake that I own is Rowdy. If there's a snake that's going to make my wife very unhappy, it's going to be Rowdy. So the reason the Eastern Brown, I'll pop them down, you'll hopefully be a little bit better on here. I can't answer your questions while I'm dealing with this guy, I'm afraid. But, you know, I'll try and get back to them. Some of our regulars tomorrow she'll have some answers for you. But, so Rowdy here, as I said, good boy, is our second most venomous snake in the world, leading cause of snake bite and snake bite death in the country. Something like 60% of Australian snake bites are from the Eastern brown snake. And the biggest reason for this is not actually his terrible temperament. It's the fact that brown snakes live over such a huge section of the country. So this species of snake is found from Papua New Guinea, through Cape York, through the entire state of Queensland, New South Wales, South Australia, Victoria, parts of the Northern Territory, and a patch in Western Australia. So I'd go as far as saying more than 2/3 of the Australian population overlap in distribution with the brown snake. On top of that, just being found somewhere is not going to mean you're going to come in contact with them. You know, there's other snakes that are found in these places, but where they do live, they're also not, you know, staying away from people. They don't want to be found by you, but in areas where you get brown snakes and taipans together, for example, coastal taipans this is. Coastal taipans very rarely come into people's homes. They're skittish snakes by nature. They want to stay out of your way. They'd rather be in the bush than in your garden. Whereas brown snakes are naturally pretty happy living in your backyard, under your house, in your chicken coop. So brown snakes are happy to live alongside people. So it's not that they're mean is the reason that they bite people. It's the fact that they're just around people. If you come into contact with more people, you're going to bite more people. So the brown snake is in my opinion, most dangerous snake in the country solely because of distribution. The fact that it's the second most venomous snake on earth and that it's not exactly a happy animal to work with as a general rule of thumb is a bit of a coincidence. But there you have it, Rowdy, the Eastern brown snake, putting on his usual show. Do you want to look at the people? When to tell people what a beautiful animal you are, not what a pain in my bum you are. Who's a good boy? There we go. Give everybody a big gold kiss. You can just see how skittish type brown snakes are. He's a very cool snake, but do you have to be careful working with him? We will put him away. I pushed my luck enough with him, but I'll answer some questions, and maybe then we'll get out a python or something. And how'd you go? So, while we're talking about brown snakes, the new snakes that we've got are actually his cousins. You're off to the west coast of Australia, mate. I wish I could get to the west coast. One of our fantastic patron supporters, Michael Duggan, runs Perth Reptile Relocations. Make sure you check him out. He keeps telling me, come over, we'll catch some snakes. But we can't go to Western Australia. Western Australia's not going to let Victorians in for a long time. All right. Backwards. G'day, Val. How are you doing? Enjoy your trip to England when it comes around. Manually changed settings a lot clearer now. Good to hear. Missed my heart pumping cause of you, Rowdy. Yeah, Rowdy's an interesting boy to work with. The difference between Rowdy and Brutus is insane. You're telling me. I'm sweating after handling Rowdy. I'm going to open this window. You'll probably hear my dogs barking outside, but it's getting warm in here after playing with Rowdy. Also, early Tuesday morning. Very fitting names for one of them for sure. Yeah, our two Eastern Browns have got Rowdy and Rover. 5:30 p.m, quite civilized. Need a spare change of underwear. It's nuts. Oh, Rowdy's not. He, at the end of the day, like I feel a little bit bad. I don't want to talk him up because at the end of the day, he's angry because a giant monster that normally kills his kind is hanging on to the other end of him. If you see a brown snake out in the bush, it's not going to act the same way Rowdy does. And Rowdy is one of the snakes that I have who was actually apparently came from the wild originally. He was caught in New South Wales under the valid licenses that needs. So I don't blame him. I have 2 baby red-tailed boas. Boas are cool. Australians can't keep boas, but I've worked with them in zoos and wildlife parks, and I certainly like them. Your heart skips a beat, Sarah. Oh, well, that makes 2 of us. See videos on brown snakes, and they are movement oriented. They are, yeah, they're very alert. Do I have death adders? I don't currently have death adders, but I'm hoping to get some soon again. Chris Humphrey from Wild Action was on the Australian news a few months ago. Yeah, I know Chris Humphrey very well. I know when I was at Mountain Pygmy Possums. He's got some very cool animals there. I've been there. I've worked on his volunteered on his property when I was a kid. Didn't have pygmy possums at the time, but yeah, I know Chris very well. We understand why I was like that. Still scary. I know you understand this, Tamara. You're a snake person. I do sometimes worry that I'm putting a bad light on them because Rowdy is not a representation of all brown snakes. How do I even find venomous snake breeders? Since I've been searching for a red-bellied black snake online, can't find a breeder. If you're in Australia and looking for venomous snakes, you really want to join like a reptile club. Like I'm a member of the Victorian Herpetological Association. Every state's got their own. New South Wales is like 3 or 4 associations. Best thing to do is get in touch with other reptile keepers, and eventually you'll meet other venomous reptile keepers. So yeah, I'll get out a python in a minute, guys. This live stream is going to be a smidge short because it's my beautiful missus's birthday today, and she wants to have a couple of drinks, and I said, look, I can't have anything to drink if I'm going to play with Rowdy. So there you have it. It's good to see him like this because if you're super chilled idiots to try and catch him, yeah. I get those comments as well. People see me with Brutus and I get all these comments like, oh, you're going to encourage some kids to go and pick up the first snake they see. And usually I feel like saying, well, tell them to watch the whole video because I've got snakes that might give them a reality dose. Kim C, how are ya? How's Ada doing? G'day, Ada. I'm sure you're out there. Can't blame snakes. Unfamiliar with people being aggressive. Yeah, Rowdy's not unfamiliar with people, but it doesn't mean he likes people. So, can a king brown snake eat a coastal taipan? Also, can a king brown snake immune to death out of venom? King brown snakes will eat any snake that fits in their mouth. That being said, like I don't like when people say, does this snake always eat this snake? A really common one is red bellies. I'll get out of red belly again quickly. I got him out on TikTok, but we'll get him out again. So red bellies is one where everybody says if you've got red belly black snakes, you don't have brown snakes. And it's true, red bellies eat other snakes, and they certainly eat brown snakes. If Brutus here ran into a brown snake smaller than him, he is going to eat it. But if he ran into Rowdy would snack down on him like he's a pack of Skittles. So yeah, he eats brown snakes, but having him isn't going to suddenly keep your property free of brown snakes. There is lots of video footage of big brown snakes eating little red bellies. So yeah, lots of snakes eat other snakes, but the king brown is a snake eater by nature. The king part of his name literally is because he's a snake eater. So like the king cobra, snake eater, king snake, snake eater, king brown, snake eater. Mulga is probably a better name because the king brown is a bit misleading. It's not even in the brown snake family. So Mulga is sort of what most reptile keepers like referring to them in. He is so nice to handle after playing with Rowdy, I'll tell you that. So the king brown's a snake eater. On top of that, they've got fairly short but very, very sort of like thick fangs. And there's a theory that they're literally designed to be able to puncture through the scales of other reptiles. So yeah, if you're a small to medium-sized venomous snake, the king brown snake is not something you'd want to run into. Where do I get my vens from? All sorts of places. So this guy here actually came from the same place as Rowdy. Came from a demonstrator up in New South Wales who was retiring. I've got some new venomous snakes that I'm going to take out tonight. They come from a big breeder who's moving a lot of stuff on, is investing stuff into money into building like a wildlife sanctuary, not open to the public, but like a fenced reserve for endangered species. So he's selling a lot of reptiles, and he contacted me. Yeah, all over the place. Zoos, wildlife parks, other reptile keepers, you name it. So basically the only thing is they can't come from the wild. Rowdy did come from the wild, but not by me. He was caught by somebody like a decade or two ago in New South Wales under the appropriate licenses. And I didn't even know he came from the wild until he arrived and all the paperwork. This guy had meticulous records, and you know, it had all the exact address that he was caught from in New South Wales. So yeah, but all captivity. Good boy, Rowdy. So I know you guys know this all the time, but Rowdy here is, of course, a red-bellied black snake. He's responsible, or this species is responsible for about 16% of Australian snake bite in the country, which is ever so slightly less than the tiger snake. But the tiger snake is responsible for about the second most deaths in the country, whereas the red-bellied black snake basically doesn't kill people. I don't want to say it can't kill people. There's snakes around the world that are less venomous than red bellies that kill a lot of people. But because of, good Australian first aid, the fact that they're relatively placid, the fact that we've got the best anti-venom in the world, nobody really dies from red belly bites. I'm running out of phone battery. Can you still see me? Let me know. But yeah, nobody really dies of red belly bites today. We'll pop him on back. He's being a good old boy. And I suppose we better take out these new snakes while I've still got some reception. 43 people out there. How are we doing, guys? Make sure you leave a thumbs up if you just hopped on. Thanks for the answers. What a chill guy. Yeah, he's a very cool snake. Still here. Got a king snake. I'd love to meet king snakes. In captivity, what do I feed king browns? Like king cobras or snake. So in captivity, most of my snakes are fed like 2-3 day old roosters. I feed a few rats, things like this. I don't feed any reptiles. I know overseas feeding like ball pythons and stuff is very, very popular for cobra keepers. But also overseas, the reptile community is so huge that you buy like pythons for $20 a piece. Whereas that doesn't really exist here in Australia. So, we even our reptile eating species, we generally transition them onto eating rodents, or in my case, roosters, just because that's what I have access to. Am I going to visit Southern Koala Rescue soon? Eccleston, I would love to. I've got basically an open invite. They're very nice people. But the border between here and South Australia is still closed. When it opens, we will head over there. But I have a few trips planned. So if it opens like tomorrow, I'll head over there straight away. If it opens in like December, January, I've actually got a fair bit of work, which I didn't think was going to happen anytime soon. Been out of work for a year and a half. But I won't be able to go anywhere for the summer holidays. We've got like bookings every week. And once that finishes, we're going to go on trips. We've just got a bunch planned. It depends what's available at what places. So we will get to Southern Koala Rescue. And if I can't get there, I've got a friend in Brisbane with a koala, and I've got a friend on the other side of Melbourne with a koala. So I will do a koala video for you, Val. I promise. Bought your ball python for $800. We can't keep ball pythons here in Australia. They're actually illegal. So, yeah. Wish I did a video on ghost bats. I would love to do a video on ghost bats. The thing is, most of my videos, at the moment I'm doing a series, which is very weird to me, because it's a series of animals on the most invasive species in the world. And I'm used to doing videos where I can hold the animal. So, that's the reason I haven't done ghost bats. I've done flying foxes, because I could hold the flying, I visited a place with flying foxes. If I can get access to ghost bats at a park, I will do a video on ghost bats, because they're very, very cool animals. King Harry looks really great. I haven't seen him for ages, but he looked very good last time I seen him. All right, guys. Would you like to see a python? Would you like to cool down? Or would you like to see these new venomous snakes? We picked up 3 venomous snakes the other day from a friend over towards Melbourne. Excuse me, who was, like I said, he's got a private wildlife sanctuary. He's putting up a huge amount of fencing to keep out foxes, cats, and he's re-releasing bandicoots and bedongs and all sorts of cool stuff. So he's sold a lot of reptiles to pay for it. What is the difference between a python and a boa? There's a bunch of differences, but the biggest difference between boas and pythons is all pythons lay eggs. And we used to say all boas lay eggs, but just to make it more confusing, we've now got 2 species of boa all boas give birth to live young. So pythons lay eggs, boas give birth to live young, but there's 2 boas that lay eggs, which wasn't known at the time. So yeah, boas including anacondas. Anacondas are in the boa group, all give birth to live young. Also, boas are generally New World, South America. Pythons are Old World, Australia, Africa, Asia, and there is some overlap. Through Asia and Africa with some of the smaller boas. Like there's a Malagasy boa in Madagascar, even though Africa is generally a python place. New snakes. Think you know the answer? New snakes. Saw the one on rats. Ooh, you're not a fan of rats? I can't say I'm a super fan of rats. All right. We will get out one of our... Which snake do you say is the best for first-time keeper? Hold that thought. We will get out these new snakes. I'm only going to get out 2. There's 3 of them. There's 2 girls and a boy. One of the girls is a little bit small, and she's not going to sit well for me on a hook. And she's... Don't tell her I said this, but she's not that pretty to look at. But I've got a big girl and a big, beautiful boy. Who would you like to see first? Would you like to build up to the boy? Or would you like to see the boy first and then see the girl? I don't know. But they're both very venomous snakes. And I've only handled them twice since they've arrived, really. Maybe 3 times. But rude, Nick, rude. What am I rude for now? Boy, girl, boy. Oh, rude to the little black one. I get you. She's a rude, dark colour. She's a cool snake, but when you see the others, you'll understand. Girl, then boy, girl, girl, boy, boy, girl. All right. We'll see whichever one I've got in the front end. Alright, so out of the 2 of them, the boy, in the handling I've done with him, which is limited, has been better to handle so far. But we'll see how we go. Alright, so the first girl, she's still quite dark. Isn't going to be great to handle. So this is the girl, and she is a Jugite, which is a species of brown snake, like Rowdy, but from the southwestern corner of Australia. Hang on, I'm going to put you down. I'm going to rearrange this phone so I can work her on the ground. She'll be more comfortable on the ground. I'll be more comfortable with her on the ground. All right, hold that thought. All right, so the Jugite is a species of brown snake. If it's not confusing enough that we just call them brown snakes, considering they're not all brown, we've got a bunch of different species of brown snakes. Not just different species that are brown, but different species in the brown snake family. So the eastern brown, which is one of the most widely distributed snakes in the country, is what Rowdy is, what Rover is, what you see every week. You've got the western brown, found over a massive section of the country, all of Central Australia, all the way to the western coast. You've got the northern brown, then you've got these small ones like the Peninsula brown, the ring brown, the Ingram's brown. But the Jugite, if you live over in Perth or on the Nullarbor Plain, the one you're going to come in contact with is the Jugite. And in that area, this is the most common snake in that part of Western Australia and the most common cause of snake bite in that part of Australia. So it's pretty much an eastern brown snake, just from a different part of the country. They're also slightly less venomous, but they're certainly venomous enough to kill you. They have caused a few deaths. In the last few years, there's been a few deaths from Jugites. So when I say they're less venomous than an eastern brown, their LD50, their toxicity score is still about on par with the black mamba. So, you know, you're talking about still up there with the most venomous snakes on the planet. But this girl here, we won't keep her out for very long because the boy is what I want to show you. He's an amazing snake. Frankly, I said yes to them because the boy is such a cool snake and the others came with him. But yeah, so as of now, we've got 3 beautiful Jugites, brown snakes of southwestern Australia, which will hopefully this summer be going out doing snake, venomous snake awareness, snake safety presentations, things like this. But if you think she's cool, I'll answer some questions. You can see she's pretty well plain coloured. She's got a few spots on her. But when I get this other one out, you'll see. We do need names for them. We've got my daughter wants to call the boy Nuka and the big girl Zira off the Lion King 2. I'll answer your questions first and then we'll get out the boy, eh? That snake is not very good to handle. No, well, I've only had him for a couple of days. Why don't I call her Raquel? Raquel, is that the right one? Maybe I'll put it on this. What I thought I was going to do was basically put it out to everybody on YouTube. And then I'll cut it down to a couple of names that I like. And then I might put it down to our Patreon supporters to choose between them. If my daughter doesn't convince me first. She wants to call the boy Nuka and the girl Zira, which are 2 of the characters on the Lion King. Because if you guys know our king brown snake, Nala, she really wanted to call this one Simba. But I said, oh, we'll save Simba until we get a male king brown. So we've got a Disney fan in our house. So Ada said strawberry because of her spots. If you like spots, we'll get out this boy. Hang on. Either, mate. You've only got constrictor snakes. Well, it's a good way to start. The venomous snakes, I love venomous snakes. I'd probably keep venomous snakes even if I was doing shows. But to be honest, snakes like Rowdy, if you saw me get out Rowdy, the Eastern Brown, I would not keep my Eastern Brown snakes if I wasn't doing displays. I'd probably keep like red belly blacks, tiger snakes. They're snakes I've got a personal interest in. Isabella is great at naming them. Isabella likes the Disney names. And it works well for me because obviously our snakes go to kids' events, not the venomous snakes so much. I did try and tell her maybe we'll keep some of these Disney names for snakes that people can actually pat. But no, the venomous snakes are all getting Disney themed names. And I'll end up with a bunch of pythons with horrible, scary names. Who knows? She wanted to use Kovu and I convinced her to save Kovu for a python. So Lion King thing names, love it. Zara. All right, so we'll get out this boy. Like I said, the boy is a very, very cool snake. I'm actually pretty excited to have this snake. Dugats are a species that I never really said I'd keep, just because I don't live in an area where you get them. So educationally, I was always like, no, I can do it with an Eastern Brown. But this boy here is big. He's pretty good to handle compared to the girl. That being said, he's still one of the most venomous snakes on the planet, and he's still in the brown snake family. So he's still Rowdy's fairly close cousin. So please don't call the girls Elsa and Anna. I've had a crocodile called Elsa in the past, and Isabella loves Frozen. So we'll probably end up with an Elsa and Anna again, but not in the meantime. Just in time, it seems, Rami. Well, you missed Rowdy, Rami, and Rowdy, he was superb today. You would have loved it. About time Rami showed up. Rami, guys, is another one of our fantastic Patreon supporters. Same as Val, same as Basil. We've got a bunch of amazing Patreon supporters. So I'm sorry if I'm Kim, Ada, you guys are Patreon supporters. If you see those guys in the comments, make sure you say thanks. They're the reason that we get to do this. But I will get this boy out because he is a pretty cool snake. Maybe you're not going to be good today. Maybe I should call him Pongo. You know, like the 101 Dalmatians? Because, like, look at these spots. Check that out. He is cool. And he's even got one, like, over his eye. So he's got, like, patches on his face. And we'll try and get him up close. And then I'll put him on the ground to work him a bit, eh? But this is a very cool snake. So this guy here is the male Dugite. He's the biggest of the three. He's a pretty big boy. Pretty strong snake to deal with. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think. I'd love to come up with a name for him. I'll pick him back up in a minute. But so, as I said, the Dugite is in the brown snake family, Pseudonaya, or Pseudonaja, depending on how you want to pronounce it, which literally means false cobra, which is kind of silly. Like, the brown snakes certainly do hood up like a cobra, but whoever gave them the name Pseudonaya, false cobra, hadn't met the tiger snakes yet, or the black snakes. Good boy. Who knows? Maybe we'll end up with a brown snake that doesn't want to kill me like Rowdy. But let's not touch wood. So yeah, as I said, this species here, the Dugite, is a species of brown snake from the southwestern patch of Western Australia. Old textbooks basically say they're confined to Perth, but we now know that they push from Perth or north of Perth across the Nullarbor Plain to about the Eyre Peninsula in South Australia. And through that region, these guys are less venomous than the Eastern Brown. But when I say that they're less venomous than Eastern Brown, it's like saying a John Deere tractor is smaller than a New Holland. Like, if anyone runs over you, you're going to die. So they're less venomous than the Eastern Brown, but their still toxicity rating is pretty much on par with like the Mambas. So he's going to ruin your day if you're bitten by him. And there is several deaths on the record. In the last few years, there's been a couple of deaths from Dugites. The Dugite fills much the same niche as the Eastern Brown. So in southwestern Western Australia, around Perth, this is the snake found most in people's homes. It's a snake responsible for the most bites. Basically think of it as a spotted brown snake from Western Australia. But he's a very cool snake. I'll pick him up one more time. We'll get a good look with him. But we need a name for him. I don't know, I shouldn't have said Pongo, now it's sort of starting to stick in my mind. Pongo or Nuka, I don't know. But he's a very cool snake. Need to get him used to sitting on this hook for me, but he's never really been handled much before he came to me. He was from a commercial breeder, so he basically was left in a tank, pulled out to clean his enclosure, and that's about it. So he's doing all right. The girl's going to need a fair bit of work, but that is a very cool snake. Like, man, look at him. Like hundreds and thousands. I'm sorry, guys, I'm excited to have him. Like I said, I never ever thought I'd keep you guys, but here's one snake I'm very happy I got convinced to take on. What do you think? Give me some names, guys. And if you're watching this later on, leave us some names in the comments. How about Cassius? I like your Roman history. But then I needed Julius. Stripes. I've got 2 blue tongue lizards. I've got a blotch blue tongue who has spots, or blotches obviously, and he's called Stripes. And I've got an eastern blue tongue who has stripes, who's called Spots. So I've already got Spots and Stripes, and I've got a Mr. Spots. Tamara needs a snake now. I'm working on it, Rami. There might be something, Rami. There is something that's, sorry, I shouldn't make fun of with a name like mine of all. But yeah, we're working on it. Mocha. Mocha's a cool name. Maybe. Raya and... Oh, let's not start with Raya and Sisu. Sisu is the biggest craze at the moment in my house. Anything that goes wrong, it's, oh, I didn't do it, Daddy. Sisu did it. Sisu left the fridge open. Sisu, spilt food on the floor. Rami. You just wait. All right. How do platypus find food in the water? In captivity in Hillsville, feeding platypus in Tasmania, they do the same in the wild. Yeah, platypus are really cool. Platypus have the ability, their bills, I'm guessing you've never patted one, their bills, even though they look like a duckbill, they feel more like rubber. So they're very, very soft. And they're full of all these sort of nerve endings. Platypuses are able to feel the electrical currents put out by animals when you move. You can't notice it, but when you move, there's actually electrical impulses making your muscles move. Platypuses can feel that through their face. So as yabbies are swimming around, because platypuses shut their eyes, they're blind underwater, but they can feel those impulses, and it basically makes an image in their brain. It's really, really cool. Call the spotted girl Polka Dot. Or maybe just Dot, and then I can, extend on it. The girl doesn't have as many spots. She's got 2 or 3. And the smaller girl is just about jet black. The girls could be Salt and Pepper. Maybe. So the small girl's jet black. The bigger girl is dark, but not jet black. And then the boy, he is a cool looking snake. Pepper. Maybe Dottie for one of them. Dottie would be cool. Atherton Tamelands is my favourite part of Australia. Chris Humphrey from Wild Action Zoo did an episode where we found a Lamolt's tree kangaroo. Yeah, I'd love to go to Atherton Tablelands. I know where we would have looked. What's her name? Karen Coombs runs a Tree Roo Rescue and Research Centre. She's the best person in the world. If you want to find tree kangaroos in Australia, you want to go and volunteer, spend some time at the Tree Roo Rescue and Research Centre. And she's constantly looking for volunteers because she does everything herself. She's an amazing worker. Already got Mr. Spots too. I do have a Mr. Spots. My boy's my favourite beautiful name in Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is a good name. 101 Dalmatians works because they have spots. Yeah, I'm like, maybe Pongo. I don't know what the girl on Pongo is called. I could call the girl Cruella. I don't know. Let me know. Maybe I'll get out one more snake for the night. We're not going to get out something venomous. Maybe a python. I've got a python actually that I've brought in the reptile room that and I don't think you guys have seen, which is weird because it's a snake that I use all the time. Harry, Hermione, and Luna. I've got a ban on Harry Potter names. I'm ashamed that I even know their Harry Potter names. Here is another cool name for Hugo. Hugo is a cool name. Perdita? Perdita, isn't it? I don't know. Got me confused there tomorrow. All right, last snake. All right. So last night we're going out tonight. Something not venomous, something that doesn't want to kill me. This is Charlie. And I'm pretty sure I've never once got Charlie out on a live stream. Charlie did go and live with a friend for a fair bit during COVID. I had some friends who were umming and ahhing about getting a snake. And I said, oh, look, I can give you one for 6 months. You can keep it and decide if you want one. And if not, I'll take him back anyway. And they've decided they're going to get their own one. And I took Charlie back. So Charlie missed a lot, didn't I? I'm in hurt mode. So oh, I'm sorry, Ram. You'll have to watch it again later on. Catch you all next time. No worries, Kyle. Thank you very much. Kyle's another one of our fantastic patron supporters. So make sure you say hello. I'm a Potter hater. Oh well, that's not a Potter hater, but my family's obsessed with Harry Potter. So I have to be the black sheep. He's so cool looking. Which locality? So Charlie here, or Charles, is a Darwin carpet python. Hence Charles Darwin. We've got a lot of themed names. So Charles here is maybe 5 years old. This species, whoop, I'm losing his. Gets quite a bit bigger than this. Not as long as coastal carpet pythons, but is one of the most popular pet snakes in the Australian hobby these days. And it basically is probably because 20 years ago, a white one was found. Somebody found a white one out in the bush. They called it Blondie. And that snake's a miracle it survived. For a start, albinos do happen in the wild. Every 100,000 animals, whatever, born albino. But they're usually eaten as soon as they're born. Especially species like carpet pythons that, like are out in the open. But that first albino carpet python was found in a caravan park outside of Darwin in a shower cubicle. Some poor lady was having a shower, looked up, there's a white snake. She screamed. She called a snake catcher. Snake catcher sent out the park ranger. Park ranger found it and they were going to put it down. They thought it was a corn snake, which comes from America and they're illegally kept here in Australia. And if they're found, they're put to sleep because we don't know whether they've been bred here or they've been smuggled in. And if they're smuggled in, they could bring diseases. So because it was white, they thought it was a corn snake, took it back to the ranger station. They were going to have it put down. And another ranger there kept reptiles as a hobby. And he recognized it as a carpet python. And today there is thousands and thousands and thousands of albino carpet pythons and hundreds of thousands of carpet pythons who were bred in the attempt to make more albinos. So I think that one animal made the Darwin carpet one of the most popular snakes on the planet. She's obviously not albino, but to produce albinos, you've got to produce a bunch of carriers of albinism. I couldn't tell you whether she's got albinism in her or not. I'm not going to breed her, so it's not a big deal. Mel, Evie, and Ben, The Descendants. I don't think I've watched that. Good morning in Canada. How are you doing? Beautiful snake. I want a snake so bad. He's a very cool. Hubby's a huge Harry Potter fan. Patch or Freckles? Yeah, Patch. I like Patch Adams. Maybe I could, take one step further, make him Robin. Notice my Patreon had lapsed. I re-updated it. I'm an official patron again. Val, you're an official patron regardless. Just make sure that if you've redone it again under a different name or something, the first one's cancelled. I'd hate to be doing it twice. Your daughter would love it. Ada's favourite movie. I'll have to look it up. Beautiful girl. She is a very cool snake. All right, guys. But with that in mind, we have seen... it's been all venomous snakes really tonight. Well, most of venomous snakes. So we're going to wrap things up there. I'm going to feed my animals. I'm going to get inside. This one's a Darwin carpet python. Get inside and we're going to have a couple of celebratory drinks for my partner's birthday. But thank you all for watching, guys. If you do watch this later on, make sure you leave a comment and let me know what you think we should name the Dugites. And if my daughter doesn't give me a name that sticks in my head, I will pick a few that I like and put it to our Patreon supporters. On top of that, make sure you check on back next Sunday. We've been doing our series on the most invasive species in Australia. I think we've done feral cows, feral rats, and this week we've got the 7th most invasive species in the country coming up. So please say happy birthday to us. I will pass on all your very happy birthdays. Thank you very much. But thank you very much for tuning in, guys. As always, thank you for your support. It's amazing. But I will talk to you next week. But between now and then, as always, be nice to wildlife. Have a good one. Take care.